My people, how are y'all today? Y'all already know what time it is. Today, we're talking about life, not motivation, not business, not entertainment. I mean, real life, the moment it begins, literally. Now, let me ask you something. How much do you really know about what it takes to bring a human into this world? Some of you ladies, y'all got a good idea because y'all have done it. But for most people, they don't have the real, information on it. The pain, the pressure, the decisions, the risk, and more importantly, the people trusted to guide that process. Today's guest doesn't just talk about it, she lives it. So sit back, lock in, and get ready. So let's light it up. Yeah. No
What's up
filters, no
with it?
scripts, just the truth. You're now tapped into the fire session. Y'all already know what time it is. We about to make things a little bit hotter for you. But before we jump into the fire, we gotta do our check-ins and make sure everybody good. So y'all see we got a special guest. Our special guest is
Yeah.
Charlette Withers. How are you doing today? Mentally, physically, emotionally? Are you okay?
Hey, hi everybody. Yeah, I'm doing it, man. I'm blessed. We have so much going on in this world that we live in. So if we can just get up in the morning and do the things that we everybody can't do, I'm good. And so I'm doing
Yeah.
well. I appreciate you guys for having me here. Mentally, I'm good. And spiritually, physically, hey, I cannot complain. I wouldn't even try. Thank y'all.
Yeah. I dig
That,
it. I dig it. I dig
that
it. I
that is
like that.
definitely great to hear because we got a lot of questions for you. We
Yeah.
got a lot of information that we're going to try to what I'm saying, get from you today. Because this is a very interesting topic and it's something that Benji has been harping about for a while, that we get somebody on to talk about these subjects. So, what I'm saying, we're very happy to have you on here today.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Facts. Facts. Facts.
All right.
Facts.
Trisha
Gotta have
Michelle.
this.
Trisha Michelle, how art thou?
Go ahead.
Oh no, I'm back, you guys.
What's up with it?
Fire session family audience. I'm back. I'm sorry I was missing, but your girl was busy. And then it was my mom's birthday too. So it was a
Yeah.
lot all in one. So her birthday, I went to the Hollywood Beauty Awards. So not only
Oh.
I also did that, I made a wig for the actual founder of the Hollywood Beauty Awards. So it was just a busy week and went from camping to making a wig, getting myself ready, my mom's birthday. Then as soon as that got done and was over with, literally the next day after the awards, that night I drove right back home. I had all my family that flew in because we were celebrating my mom with a
Hmm.
nice little annual thing we're trying to start doing. So it was a great weekend, but now I'm finally getting my feet back on my own ground. House clean. You got to clean the whole house after you
Yeah.
had a
Got
whole lot of
right. Yeah.
chaos because it feels like
Anybody?
you're cleaning everything.
Any, anybody leave something in the refrigerator that you had to find, folks tripping, leaving stuff in the refrigerator too long? What's happening?
No, but everybody leaves everything at my house. I got crochet yarn and kettle corn popcorn in one bag. I got some platform heels on some other bag. I got a Mickey Mouse beanie. It's stuff I got packages I gotta mail everywhere to people that's and left all that stuff behind. But it's all good because it was all love like all
Right.
weekend. So I'm back. I'm here, guys, and I'm ready to get back to my regularly scheduled program.
Yeah. Well, it's good to have you back. You know what I mean? We missed you for an episode or two there, but yeah, it's all
Mhm.
right. Glad
Yup,
to have you
yup,
back.
yup. For sure, for sure. All right, Benji Banks, the man, the brand. You good, my guy?
I'm good, man. I'm blessed this week. Wife is in the daughter, the oldest daughter is in Bali. And
Ooh.
I can't lie, man. I can't lie. They on that 17, 18 hour flight, and you can't call them, you can't talk to them, none of that. That's weird, bro.
Anxiety.
Like that's like, babe, when they gonna land? Like, I'm waiting for the call, you know what I mean? So it was a little weird, but they finally touched down. And of course, they are 17 hours away from us, time wise. So, and but one of the dopest parts is the mother-in-law is here with me all week. And so, get to treat the mother-in-law like the queen, make sure she good, make sure she don't have to want for nothing, all of that good stuff. And, and then work on my garden, fam. Listen, fam, Ken, I finally got some blood oranges pulling up in your boy's backyard that's already sprouting out. And I'm telling you, like, I don't know if y'all have ever felt like, you know what I'm saying, something was taking too long and then it started to happen. Kind of like this birth situation, this birth we're going to talk about tonight. And you're just waiting for that joint to pull up. And then,
waiting
it's
for
like
that joint to pull up is crazy to say in
crazy.
comparison.
I'm just saying.
I'm just saying. I'm just waiting for this joint to come out.
And then, you know what I'm saying? You see the orange pull out on that joint. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, like when do you pull it off? So you got to do your Googles and you got to do all, you don't want to pull them off too early.
You got to have patience because you're going to want to pull it off and keep calm. Okay. Find something to do. Read a book.
Facts. It's like the Braxton Hicks, until that joint hit. You know what I'm saying? Everything else is kind of, just preliminary. So dealing with all of that.
You have somehow managed to compare growing blood oranges to birthing a child.
So, men, we got to make it make sense until we hear it from y'all. You know what I'm saying? We just, we just got to piece it together until we hear the actual info.
Don't include us. Just say Benji. Don't say
right
me.
for Benji.
Don't say us. It's just you.
Because this is the first time I've ever in my life heard anyone use this comparison.
Yeah, that's you, my brother.
I'm just saying. But we got some interesting news, Ken. What's going on, fam?
Well, I'm gonna talk about that. It's interesting that we have this topic tonight. And this also, interesting what this week is, and I'll talk about that in just a second. But I'm actually expecting my first grandchild this year. So this is perfect timing for us to have this topic, for us to be learning more and more about it, because of course I have my own kids and I was blessed to be there in the room when all three of my kids were born. But to be, a grandfather and to be helping my son and his girlfriend walk through it from that standpoint is a different aspect. And you know what, we need more information. And of course my kids are old, so I ain't been involved in none of this in over a decade, almost 2 decades for my oldest. So yeah, a lot has changed. So yeah, so it's interested to hear the new information.
We in the same boat, Ken.
Right. How old is your baby girl? She's your youngest, right? Your baby
14.
girl, right? Yep. Okay, so 14 years out. Yeah, that's
So a lot has changed. So
facts.
But yeah, it's all good. I'm excited to get this ball rolling. So let's fire it up. So
I'm gonna get you some cigar. I'm gonna send you a cigar, my guy. I'm sending you a nice little cigar.
I'll take some pictures with it like Suge, because I definitely ain't gonna smoke them. But hey,
right.
I appreciate it.
You don't smoke them no way. You just light them and puff them out and let them go.
You don't want no parts of that.
I don't even do that, bro.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, but I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
Yeah. We're gonna make sure you're all right.
Pawpaw shirt.
Pawpaw shirt. Pawpaw shirt. All right, we're gonna find you a pawpaw shirt. We'll find you a pawpaw.
All right. So this week is Black Maternal Health Week. So it's the perfect timing to have today's guest. So we want to welcome to the show officially. And in your own words, can you tell us who is Charlette Withers?
Oh, well, I'm just a girl that grew up in California in the city of Carson, and I became a nurse. You know how you when we would dress up for Halloween when we were kids, and it used to be that you would dress up as what you really, really wanted to be. So I remember, dressing up as a nurse and, really, really had the aspiration of doing that. And I have an aunt who is also a women's health nurse practitioner, and she was very instrumental in just being who she was, and I was watching. We always have somebody that we emulate and that we kind of just watch their life. And so I really enjoyed her working with women, and I had an affinity for women as a young girl. So I became a nurse, a registered nurse, in 2001. Well, in 2000, and then I got my license in 2001, and then from there it just took off. So just working in the inner city, with very, very high risk patients, mostly Black and Hispanic women. And man, it just went from there. And so going from a registered nurse to, finally figuring out the advantage, or figuring out what was so good about getting higher education. So got my bachelor's, and then so I started off with my associates, then got my bachelor's, and then into my master's way down in 2016 when I became a certified nurse midwife. So, but I'm a mama. I have a 28-year-old daughter, and I have a 14-year-old, 15. She just turned 15-year-old daughter. I am a wife. I'm a wife to a pastors for the last 27 years. So I've been a first lady for 22 years. I have such a mix of a life. Okay.
Right.
But I'm most of all, I am a chill. I'm still a homegirl, and I enjoy life and love doing life. And I love doing what I do. I have a passion, and I call it a calling for what I'm doing. It is not, you have to love this in order to continue. And so this has been 10 years as a midwife now, and 20 plus years, all those other years of being just a registered nurse. So there's many types of midwives, and maybe we'll get into that. But I am the certified nurse midwife who was a registered nurse first. So on top of that, I have since like the last couple of years, I am also an entrepreneur and a med spa owner in the Inland Empire. So things are just blowing my own mind. I blow my own mind sometimes when I need to just sit down somewhere and I just keep on creating and keep on doing things that's gonna help the community, help women, and just help others to know that they can do whatever they want to do. You don't have to stop at a certain age. Keep it pushing as long as you got breath and strength in your body, and you can keep on creating, and you can keep helping people, keep doing what you got to do. So that's who I am.
That. Yeah, she's a whole bunch put into one, right? I love it. I love it.
Yep. So what inspired you to become a midwife?
Yeah.
You know what? I can say this. As a nurse, I was working at Martin Luther King. They used to call it Killer King here in LA. And
no.
And I worked there before it was closed down. And I had my first encounter with midwives, and those were Black midwives at the time. But at the time, it was a lot of residents, so the midwives really didn't get a chance to do much. And I just thought, hey, as a nurse, I get to do more. I mean, I really didn't see the value at that time of what the Black midwives were doing, and that's because they had others that were learning, too. So I thought that what I was doing was just the pinnacle. And honestly, I always have to apologize to those people if they could hear me, because I think I discredited them for what their role was, because I just didn't know. People weren't saying what midwives were. Nobody knew. I don't even think I had ever heard. I just knew doctors. And so when I later on down the road, I started working for a big HMO here in California that has midwives, and these midwives were not Black, but they were bad. I'm talking about running the floor, keeping the patients on point. And I saw them. I was the charge nurse on that floor and saw them doing deliveries, and I was like, okay, well, what's this? This is more than what I've been doing, and I actually get to put my hands in care and really, really help them across the threshold of birth. And I had a friend who was also a charge nurse who was in midwifery school, and I'm like, hey, give me the tea. Like, let me know what's going on. How does this happen? And so from there, that is when I was inspired. But listen, way down the line, people don't talk. Our families don't talk. Our grandmothers, aunts, they don't really talk about it because they feel like that was what it was back then. But I found out that I actually come from a lineage of granny midwives way back in the parishes of Louisiana. We're talking great, that was already in my family. So they I got the stories afterwards, and it kind of just like resonated, like, wow, maybe, this is the reason why I feel such a passion and a burden to do this, because it was already in my blood. So yeah, I've been inspired by different people, but I think just watching people just kind of working and putting their hands to it, that really inspired me to do more.
Could you explain simply what, I know it's probably vast, than
Mhm.
more this question would be, but what specifically is a midwife? What is the
Mhm.
role that they play in that position?
Okay, so a midwife, I feel as though it's a come alongside. The word midwife means with woman. Okay. And so many things have changed now. We have so many different ways that birth is occurring. And so you might not only be with women, with same sex couples. I mean, it's a lot. It comes in a lot of different forms now that it may not have occurred before. But I'm with whoever is giving birth, right? And so most of the times and most of the context, you are with women, but you are also with families. You're also with whomever the support system is, and whoever is in that room, that's who you with. And so the person who comes alongside, from the beginning, from before birth. I mean, a lot of people don't even know that midwives, we have in our scope of practice, we're able to be with women from puberty all the way to menopause. So although people really think that a midwife is only for birth, I see women for abnormal uterine bleeding. I see women for pap smears. I see women for contraception care. I see women outside of the realms of birth. I see people. I see older women who are now going into perimenopause, menopause. I see them too, and I treat them as well. So midwife we can diagnose, we can treat any part of the woman that is within our scope of practice. Now, there's many, like I was talking about before, there's different types of midwives. You have your licensed midwives, you have who those midwives were not nurses first. There's institutions and organizations that are able to have the midwives to train and to come into apprenticeship, and also then take a certification test, same as ours, a board certification test, but they're not nurses first. So those particular midwives are those midwives who you will find to work in your birth centers or in your home birth settings. Okay. Now, nurse midwives like myself, I was a registered nurse first. So I had to go through that first. And then I got my master's. I'm master's prepared, and then board certified in the scope of practice of your master's of science in nursing, but it specializes in midwifery. And so I have the ability to work in any setting. I can work in home birth setting, I can work in hospital setting, or in the birth center setting. So for me, it gave me a little bit more. I mean, I was already on the registered nurse pathway. I believe that midwife should be everywhere. A midwife should be at the house, midwife should be in a birth center, and a midwife should be in a hospital. I do not ever take, although hands down, I give much homage to the women who and the midwives. There's some male midwives as well. I give props to them because it's different, although in those settings, those particular women who give birth there are usually lower risk and healthier women. There's a criteria of those type of people that can deliver there, okay, who can have their babies in those settings. But in a hospital setting, I might see a lot of things that would never be able to be in that birth setting, because these women might have diabetes, they might have high blood pressure, they might be a BMI of 35, on the obese side. People that would never ever get a chance to give birth in the birth center or home birth, they come with me. And so although we're in a hospital setting, we have some boundaries and some things that they wouldn't meet that in the home birth setting or the house setting. But I feel like they still need a midwife, because we still care for our patients just different than a doctor. We have I think the background and the foundation of a nurse, that bedside manner. You just kind of get in there and really walk alongside with the woman. So, and then in the postpartum period, we also see them too. So to answer your question, it is to be with the woman is to be with the family in all aspects of not just birth, but in all aspects of womanhood, every part. So,
oh Lord, that's good. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. That's a lot. I love it though. I love it though.
Yeah, that's a doozy because I didn't know that. I didn't
Right.
think that midwives did all of that or was responsible for the length of time. Like I'm
yes,
just, the regular person out here. I'm thinking midwife, pregnancy,
right.
that's pretty much the scope of it. But
Mhm.
yeah, no, you just enlightened me for sure, because
Yeah.
yeah, now see, I'm learning, y'all. See, I'm learning already. We just in the beginning of the episode, I'm already learning. So see, this is good
Facts.
stuff.
Facts.
For
Yeah,
sure, for
many
sure.
people don't know all those roles. They don't.
Wow.
Not at all. Okay, so I want to
You
talk
on mute,
about
Patricia.
Yeah, no, my bad. No, I was saying I think I learned maybe less than 10 years ago, probably the full scope of a midwife
Yes.
in reference to like kind of one of my very, very close friends. She had one, but she did do at home birth, but she insisted on making sure she had a midwife. And like you said, before, during, even after, like taking care of her, anything that the baby needed anything
Hmm.
questions she had, like they were there for a long time, like
Yeah.
afterwards. So I was just like, wow, this is like a person that low key to her, she used it the second time for her next baby. And so it became like part of the family also. Like her midwife
Absolutely.
she's very close to her midwife.
Yeah, that's
Right.
true. You also can care for the baby. That's part of the scope of practice too, that you can care for the baby for the first 28 days of life. So yes.
Hmm.
Oh
Hmm.
wow.
That's
Well,
interesting. I like
that
that.
might be also too why, just like Trisha Michelle just said, the midwife becomes, part of the family kind of for some people because I mean that's a big part of life and if they do, decide to partake in, what I'm saying, being with the baby for the first 28 days or the first
Yeah.
month of their life, that's a big deal
Yes,
to
it is.
Mhm.
allow somebody into that space for that, for that length of time too. So
Oh yeah.
yeah, that's definitely a connection that's like no other, for real.
Yeah. Yeah. And if I can just add to a lot of times, as you may know, and a lot of people like they still don't know what a midwife is. As much as we are talking, or much as people just don't even really like know. And the reason there's such a root, it's been a struggle since the beginning. Since you had the granny midwives, midwifery has always, or birth, or whatever midwife's role has always been um, being yanked away from the hands of those who care, those who are doing birth, who are doing all the roles that I just explained. It has always been someone to try to stop or hinder or say no, you can't. And right now, why are we talking right now? The Georgia midwives are suing the state of Georgia right now because they are trying to stop them from from birthing or taking care of women in the state of Georgia. It has always
Wow.
been, I mean, since the 1800s, you have had white doctors that have taken that role away from midwives, and we have always had to fight for our place. There's so many people that still, they don't know what the midwife does. It gets discredited, although we've been trained and we have been certified and all the things. We still have to fight for your role and for your place. It's sad, but I'm here. I'm here for it. I'm here
How
for
does
it.
one figure
What?
out their
Right.
nurse being a midwife? Because I know they have all these, things behind the name when you're searching for your
Mhm.
nurse, when you're searching through like OBGYN, like how do you identify specifically a midwife?
Yeah, so the midwife, if they are going to be in a hospital setting, it would say CNM. So CNM stands for Certified Nurse Midwife. So that's one way to
Mm.
identify them. If you're going like in a hospital setting and you're looking for that, or it would be spelled out completely, Certified Nurse Midwife. If you're in a hospital, like in a home birth setting, you might see CM, which is Certified Midwife, or you might see LM, which is Licensed Midwife. You see those different terms, and I know it's all these letters and things like that. But definitely doing research, vetting out people, like you said, getting into it might be community, community, talk, like organizations or things like that you might have to do some research to find your right person. That's real important too. But yeah, usually in those letters, you'll find what it is that you need to find. Yeah.
What would be one reason why you would think that maybe a doctor would be opposed to a midwife being present, or why would you think, if from your
Mhm,
perspective, that would even be an issue, considering hearing
mhm.
how good one can be to a mother? What would you think that would be? Because I kind of would baffle me if
Yeah.
my doctor said no, don't get a midwife.
Hmm. Okay, let's midwives and its studies have shown that if you have a midwife present in your pregnancy and birth, that statistics have shown that there has been greater outcomes. There has been a
Mm,
decrease in C-section rates. Okay, there has
mm,
been decrease in preterm birth, and overall it just has been a an outcome that has been greater than in births that have required much intervention. Okay. Now, I'm
right,
not saying that midwives do not move in interventions, what it may be inductions, or if you need to do augmentation, if you're using Pitocin or whatnot. But in most settings, midwives will practice in a way where we would only use intervention if needed. Okay. Not because we need to hurry up and get you delivered, not because I got to go
right,
somewhere and I have other patients and I need to hurry up. And if you don't hurry up, then you just got a C section. We're trying our best to do everything that we can do to prevent operative birth. So a midwife's role is to try our best to get the birthing person to deliver physiologically, which means the way that
hmm
your body was designed for it to happen. That's the way we
hmm
want to do it. Now, there are some times when we might have to use other modalities to help, but we're going to use interventions as least as possible to get this done. So why would a doctor not want that? Well, a lot of times it boils down to money. I mean, it boils down
hmm
to, you know, if we just think about it and, just trying to be very candid about it, um, they may not believe, or medicine may not have taught them that you don't need to use thus and so, that you can take your
right,
time,
right, right.
get birth to happen rather than to move fast in it. Now, there's many studies that have gone on and data that brings, sometimes now physicians are starting to move in a way that will give a woman more of a chance and an opportunity and would not end up in the operative, setting. But there are still many that don't believe, like, in a way that the midwife would do what she does. And so that would be the way. It's just a tug of war as to who,
Because I,
takes care of who, like, take care of the woman in a better way, I believe.
because I was reading a report that said
Mhm.
C-sections typically, not all, but they typically happen because they're trying to get that bed, get the woman out of there as fast as possible. And a C-section is kind of the fastest way. Get the baby in, get the baby out, get the mother out in what, 3 or 4 days. My daughter just had a C-section, so
Mhm.
and they rushed her out of the hospital. And I'm like,
Mhm.
baby, are you ready to come home? And she's like, Dad, no, I'm not. But they did a C-section. And so I had no idea to even think midwife. But this
Mhm.
was something that's been brewing in my head. So I've been wanting to ask those
Yeah.
particular type of questions. But who do you bounce that off of when you don't know as many
Right.
doctors, or you don't even know as many midwives? So this is
Right.
some information that I kind of wanted to dive into for sure.
And I will say there are times C-sections are needed.
Right.
There are
Yeah.
times that interventions are needed. So I won't say that those things are completely bad, but I believe that someone
Right.
should get the full chance to see if their body can do what it was designed to do. And for whatever reason, you might have to still end up in that. And that doesn't mean you failed. That doesn't mean that things
Right.
went wrong.
Right.
It means
Right.
that was just needed. And so, there's a lot of data that shows that we don't keep people in the hospital too long anymore. Remember back in the day, mama would stay in the hospital for seven
hmm
days. But we don't do that
Mhm.
anymore. They don't need to do that
Right.
anymore. They have come to the grips that sick, hospitals are for sick people. And if everything is checking out well, you do better at home. So that could be the reason why it looks like things are
Right.
moving much faster. But sometimes data just shows that people do better when they're not inside of a hospital.
Okay.
Hmm.
All right. So I got a question. So with, we're talking about, at home births,
Yeah.
C-sections and all these different options. So when you have at-home births versus hospital births, what's the biggest difference? I know the
Mhm.
place that it's occurring in, but what are the advantages or disadvantages to having a home birth versus a hospital birth?
Yes. So a home birth is going to be, most people who have home births are doing it totally their way. They may want a shower involved, or they may want to birth in a tub. They may want to eat while they are in labor. They may want 15, 20 people in their house if that's what they want to do. Okay. Um, they're low risk pregnancies. Most of them do not have or have not had any risky parts of their pregnancy, so everything is low risk. So there's no need to really intervene or do anything. This birth is coming naturally. All right. So then your hospital birth, hospitals have rules, they have boundaries. You might only can have two people in the room. We may not have tubs there. No, you cannot eat during your labor because they have deemed that is a risky thing, because if you need to go back for surgery, we don't want anything in your stomach or too heavy, because just in case you might aspirate. So you have other boundaries that kind of close in certain freedoms, okay, if I would say. And then in the hospital is where you're going to have those moms, like I was saying before, that might have those risks. They might need to be in a place of where you got a little bit more higher level of care, because she might need insulin while she's in labor, or this one might have a history of bleeding after she delivers, things like that. Or we might be doing a vaginal birth, but she had a C-section before, so it's better for her to be inside of the hospital to give birth, because just in case what we are planning for doesn't happen that way, she's going to need her C-section. So the difference is the risk, how that person wants their birth to happen. But the thing that we want people to understand, and that's when I come in, I want the woman, even if she does have some risk, to understand that she does not lose all of her autonomy. She does not lose her choices. She does not lose her voice just because she's in the hospital. We want them to still have a voice. They should still have a birth plan. They should still have choices. Now, we might have a little bit of boundaries now, but we can still exercise autonomy, and that person should still feel empowered in their birth. They should still get the birth that they need and that they want and that they choose. Although we can't have 20 people in the room, but how do you want to see this happen? What is the way that you want this birth to occur? And so that's when I'm happy to be that midwife, to be in the hospital, because I'm going to make sure that their voice is heard, that everything that I'm doing with them and for them and to them, that I am consented to do so, that they're in charge of how things go. Now, if things start going left, it is then my job to say, hey, listen, this is what I see. This is my recommendation. But ultimately, it's your decision as to how you want to go from this. But this is my expertise talking along with what I'm seeing right now. But you still make the choice.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
I mean,
I mean, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I'm thinking
Go
about though,
ahead.
because I mean, she kind of answered it when I was gonna. I'm thinking about like if they're like, I want no meds, no epidural, no anything, and then when you said, if things take a turn for the left, you're there to explain it to them too. And then at that point, say they didn't want any epidural, but they need it, and they're still denying it. How do you navigate that?
I feel like time yours usually makes the decision. If I see, hey, I see this person struggling, or I see them really, really, really having a hard time, but this is what they would like to do. Definitely, I want to make sure whatever else they have in place to try to, okay, we're not going to do epidural. How are we coping with this? Because it's intense. And I know that labor is not easy. So how are we going to go through this? So being there to support them in whatever decision that they're making, and support them while the decision is going on. But if I say, I can see like hours later, we're not progressing because this person is just so tense, and it is really, the pain that they're going through is kind of like moving them backwards. They're not progressing because of, then I would just say, are you sure? Like, you just let us know. Like, I don't want you to feel, people sometimes they feel defeated just because their plan is not what they had in their mind. It's everything is not going the way that they designed it to go in their head. And they feeling like, okay, if it don't look this way, I did something wrong. And so I do encourage people like you're not wrong. You still rocking and rolling. You are in control and you are doing amazing no matter what it is that you choose. So just sometimes they need a little encouragement and to understand that they didn't fail because now they want an epidural, you know, and things like that. So you just kind of be there, you know, and so after a while, either they want to keep holding on to whatever their decision is, and that's fine. I'm gonna be there to go right through it with them. Or if they want to change their mind, I let them know it's fine to change their mind too.
That's that comfort thing right there, right?
Yeah.
Getting the
That's
person
that bedside.
comfortable in that setting. Yeah, yeah. I can imagine the midwife being very, not saying that the doctor isn't, but that midwife being very instrumental in kind of that calm voice, so to speak, kind of speaking to that, especially if she's having a birth at home, so to speak.
Yes. Oh, yes.
It seems
Oh,
a
yes.
whole lot more intimate because you mentioned earlier too with the doctors why they would say nay or kind of not favor the midwife because they want, you know, or the quick in and out. I will say when I have my son, I don't even remember what the doctor looked like by the time it was done. Doctor was gone. On to the next. So they get in and they get out for real. But being there by their side and making sure everything's okay and it's a whole lot more intimate connection between the two, though you feel safer there. So I mean, we're learning a lot today, y'all.
Yeah, just being on the side of them, you know what I mean? Relationship. Even if you might have never met them before. You build a bond and a relationship and you understand that, hey, I'm in the most important time of their life. Like you want to make that as meaningful in that time frame as you absolutely can.
So in that process of, you know, the giving birth aspect, like what are some of the key components that a person can, you know, be notified of in that moment? Like I'm a husband, right? And there's things I don't know. What would be some of the major things that you would throw out, information you would give to a husband if they're mentioning they want a midwife in this space? What would be some of those key points you would bring out to that individual?
Okay. And I'm so happy that you brought that out because I think that too, it is important to prepare, you know, and I think that is a gap that we are literally needing to fill that will help us out in this negative outcomes that we also prevalently see. And it's just way too much and preparing. And so we prepare the birthing person, the mother, and we also prepare the family, right? We prepare that support person. So way ahead of time, before you need to be panicking, we need to know what to do. We need to know how should we prepare? What are the red flags that we need to be looking for? Okay, so if this baby is not moving how it should, or you know, if you are bleeding and it's not supposed to look like this, or you know, or the water has broke. Now, how much time do I have to get there? Or you know, okay, here comes the contraction pattern now. How much am I supposed to be contracting before I actually walk in and go to the hospital? So preparation is everything. Preparation is education that I think we need, that has many people. I don't care if they have a midwife or not. It's so many people, no matter their economic status, no matter their age, no matter their race. So many people walk into a birth room or to a hospital, and after all that prenatal care that they have had, they walk in and they have no idea about what just happened, what is getting ready to happen, and what to even look for. And so preparing prior to is like gold. I feel like that's the golden key that we need to make sure that our patients are prepared and the family is prepared. So like just letting them know what the contraction pattern should look like. Like I said, what are the red flags? When should you be coming into calling your midwife to be seen at the birth center, or when is it time? Because even from the birth center now, it's times that things happen where they need to say, that midwife in that birth center needs to be able to say, okay, listen, this is too much for me. You need to go to the hospital. They have to also be able to do that too in that birth center setting, because if that level of care takes it to a higher level, more than what should happen in that birth center or in that home, then you need to be able to transfer. There's many midwives I have in community birth midwife colleagues. They will call me and say, are you there? Because they want to transfer to a midwife if they can. But they know that it's time for that patient to leave out of their care and come into a hospital setting. So what are the things that they should be looking for that are red flags what are normals and what are abnormals. People should know that. So a daddy should know it too. The husband should know it too. Like, no, this is you saying that the baby haven't moved all day. We need to go. So not only does she need to know, but just giving education and teaching and preparation to all that's involved is the key element, I think, to a lot of negative outcomes that we get. People just don't get the chance to learn because we don't have a lot of time to spend. And these appointments are so quick. You have so many patients, and sometimes they don't get a chance to get everything. And where do they go to learn it? You know, because so some people, pregnancy is cute. You know, it's really cute and
right.
we're showing it off, but you need to know all the parts that goes along to it. It's a really serious thing, and we should know. So the daddy should know, and whoever else is involved.
Right. Pregnancy is cute. That one is good because they twerking on stages nowadays with big stomachs and everything nowadays. So it's
cool.
it's quite interesting.
Pregnancy was uncomfortable, but I mean, hey. And I look back like, who let me look like this?
Yeah.
Right. And go ahead, kid. I'm sorry.
No, I just got a question though. We talking about, the hospitals and things, but I hate to take a dive into this right quick. But how do you feel about the healthcare system? Is it failing the women during childbirth? Because I hear so many horror stories about how women are treated during childbirth, and their experiences have not been good as of late. I've heard a lot of stories. So how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I feel that the United States, period, is failing. It's failing, period, at maternal child health, period. We're way more farther advanced than a third world country, and there are some third world countries that have better maternal mortality rates than we do. I think that there's many reasons. Racism for Black women is one definite underlining foundational reason. Implicit biases, because even as Black providers, you can catch some Black providers not treat Black women right because of the biases. Sometimes we have some unconscious biases. We have to check ourselves. Like, you might see somebody who she got the same color skin as you, but she didn't come from the same side of the street as you. So she might act a little different than you. She might talk different. You know what I'm saying? Her educational level might not be on the same point as you. She might not carry the same bag or drive the same kind of car as you, but we still Black. Where we have Black providers not even treating Black women correctly, right? And I'm pretty sure it might work in all different kind of cultures, but the United States is failing us, period. I don't, it's such a mystery because we all trying to figure it out. Like, okay, where's the problem? Well, we do know that racism, institutional racism, does play a part. Black women, everybody think we're so strong that we don't hurt, that we can't cry, or when we're saying that something is wrong, that it's really not that we are lying, or, and that doesn't matter. And it doesn't matter what your educational background or how much money you got. People just don't take us serious for whatever reason. And we know what that is. It's just racism. So that's one aspect where the United States as a whole, we are just living in a racist country, period. And unfortunately, it has filtered over into our healthcare systems. Now, the one remedy for that is that we have providers that look like those people who they are taking care of, and that they can speak the same language, they understand the culture, and whatever culture that might be. If it's a Hispanic culture, there should be Hispanic providers that can understand the lifestyle and all the things about them, so that they're not looked at in a different kind of way or taken wrong by others, right? But the problem is that there's so little of us providers. We have to struggle through school, getting into certain programs as Black providers to just try to get over here on this side to take care of the people who really need us the most. Black women are dying 3 to 4 times more in childbirth than white women. Why? There's no reason. A lot of it has to do with the education, the access to care, preparing the body before it's even pregnant. If it's anything that needs to be taken care of that we can kind of get in check before you actually get pregnant, I think that would help out a lot too as well. But then you got people that are putting their hands to care for these people that don't understand them or don't even
Really
care. And so the United States is just failing us, period, with the healthcare system all over this United States, no matter what state we're talking about. Some are worse than others. And then we don't have the providers that can really fill in the gap to be there, to really care and really checking those biases ourselves so that we make sure we're not adding to the problem just because we didn't got educated now. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's not good. And that's why I keep at the plow. As much as sometimes I'm tired. To date, I probably have delivered like 2,000 babies in my career. And it's counting because I got to go work tomorrow. But, I'm here because I know that you got to know that your purpose to be here for a bigger. It ain't about money, because that doesn't always sustain you. But it's got to be a purpose-driven situation where you want to stand in the gap for these types of things and hope that one day we can make some type of change.
It's interesting that you mentioned the part about Black women. Maybe they didn't need this because they're strong, they don't need that. I was reading an article about that in the early stages of childbirth, and they said Black women didn't need epidurals, or they didn't need the extra drugs, and so now the women are just pushing with just this extreme pain. And then I ended up when I met my wife, she talks about she almost lost her life in giving birth to the baby girl. They just weren't paying attention to her. They weren't giving her the necessary stuff that she needed, and she was just bleeding.
Yeah.
And she mentioned it, and then the nurse didn't really do anything. And so my wife, is like giving birth, like in this space, bleeding, and she has to really like fuss before the nurse even really gives her any attention, and she almost lost her life in that space. And so I found that interesting because that was just 13, 14 years ago. This isn't 1950s, 1960s.
Yeah.
This is 13, 14 years ago. And so I'm wondering, when you get into these spaces of trying to give birth, what makes a woman at ease in this space, knowing all of this information is out there, that there is this potential? What settles her to make her say, you know what, I got to give birth, I got to do this, I got to go to this spot? What settles you in that space? I know it has to be something.
Yeah, women are definitely nervous, honestly, and they're nervous, and they're getting to the point to where they don't trust the hospitals at all. So more women are wanting to go over to where they can give birth in their homes or in a birth center setting. But again, like I said, some women just don't qualify, right, to do that. So we want them to be safe. We want them to be in a safer place. And some people feel like, I don't care. Like if I got to go to a hospital, then I just won't do it safe. And then that's dangerous too as well, because then they'll want to put themselves in a situation that may not be the best thing for them because they just don't trust the hospital. So what we have to do, we need more Black providers. We need more Black providers. These are the women that are nervous. You can hear others that are also nervous too, but it's really us, because we really see what we've gone through. And like you said, 13, 14 years ago, well, it was just a couple of stories here, like a year ago, And so
I read it was a 65% mortality rate that Black women are dying giving birth at, like 65%. That, I was like, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's and it's for many different reasons. A lot of times they don't give us the data as to why it happened. We just know the women are Black. And so what gives people consolation is it got to start in the prenatal care, where they can begin to trust you. Okay. They can begin. And even if, you have some providers that are maybe not Black, but they understand the Black woman's body. They understand all that we've gone through and all that we are going through. And they understand the fact that we do not trust. They have to be sensitive to that. And they have to deal with the patients with compassionate care and listen to them, allow them to ask as many questions as they need to ask and give them answers, and don't make people feel as though they're wasting your time or you need to hurry up. That part right there is what make people kind of get, guarded. But just even if I met a patient and we're going to be delivering, I've never met the patient before. You literally got about 2 minutes to let this person know that you can rest with me, that it's going to be okay with me. And that comes with you just kind of, getting just on their level, not trying to be, humbling yourself to serve and to be there for them and allow them to ask as many questions and just be attentive. So I think that helps out a lot. But do people have that, or is it just like, a number and things like that? So it's very important.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I want to also ask you about epidurals, right?
Mm-hmm.
I hear a lot of women complaining about, after they have the epidurals, years later, they have problems with sciatica or the area where the epidural was injected at. Can you talk to us a little bit about the epidurals and the issues that, that you've seen or you've observed with them, be it good or bad?
Mm-hmm. Well, I've seen them. I mean, when somebody needs one and they get it, I'm down with it. You know what I'm saying? I'm down with them. I understand. Listen, I had my baby. I tried my best to do it without, and I couldn't, and so I quickly just said, hey, time out. Let's, let me get the epidural. It can be a good thing for people. It could allow them to finally rest, whereas they were so tense and they couldn't, their labor would not be able to progress. Epidural can slow down labor, which then allows us we have to then intervene to give them back contraction. So you can see where people kind of vacillate between is it good or not. Some people feel like, no, it's going to slow everything down. Well, there is something to do about that. But if you're in so much pain that we can't progress anyway, we are just defeated on both ends. So the person who chooses that, I'm not knocking them. I don't knock them. And some midwives will probably fight me on that, and that's fine. But I don't want to see anybody gonna go through birth traumatically, and that goes for anyone. If that's what they choose to do, then and they want to do it naturally, then we should have some other coping mechanism that's going to help us get through. If that means that you have a doula with you and they're talking you through, or you're using hypnobirth or whatever the other modality that you decide to use, we need something that's going to help us. I don't like to see people kind of traumatically go through labor and then afterwards they're left with that picture of this is how this was and now they're traumatized. I've seen it happen, and I've seen it happen both ways. And so they want the epidural, I support them. If they don't, I support them. Now, as far as like after, I've seen a lot of people, complain about back pain after. I'm not saying that cannot be the case. A lot of times too, people have to know that if different things were done to our backs and then we go and gain like 40 pounds, right? Well, you might get some back problems. Was it the epidural or we just got 40 pounds on us? You know what I mean? Right. So I'm sure there are women who do have, may have, if they try several times in the same space and now you're having back pain. Well, that's to be that's understandable. You might have those types of things, but I mean, in most cases, honestly, in my career, from what I've seen, I haven't seen anybody have too many adverse, problems from the epidural. I have seen some, whereas they might have some neurological situations going on, like with their legs, that might have been too numb, or during pushing with an epidural. That's one thing people have to be very careful, is that when somebody's pushing, they can't feel. So you can't just be pulling, mishandling, holding their legs, or, pulling them so far back to where then after, when this feeling comes back, now we have injury. So you gotta be careful with that too. So just being mindful, of what we got going on, and you use your common sense and your assessment throughout the whole time. So it could be very instrumental. And if we're not using it correctly or doing things incorrectly, then we can get some injuries and some adverse effects from it.
Well, I'm thankful because I didn't have an epidural twice. I got two kids, and well, I did. So I had both. How you explain one can slow it all the way down. When my son, I had epidural, slowed it all the way down. Like, and they did have to take alternate measures to then basically kind of like induce things to make things kind of keep going. Then the opposite end, I didn't want it at all, so I didn't take it all the way to the end where I was about to pass out. So I had to take it because my natural coping mechanism for pain is hold my breath.
Yeah.
And they were like, you are not getting oxygen. And my grandma was like, you're going to pass out. Like she felt me. I felt it too. And so then it had to switch to I needed the epidural because there's no way I'm going to have her safely and me be okay. So, I mean, but both of them, my back, definitely, I have back problems, upper back. That has nothing to do with where the epidural was. So my story, everyone's story is different. I don't have any issues from where the epidural was at. I just need some better posture and not work at a desk.
I love it. I love it.
All right, so let's get into some of these more interesting things from your experiences. I was thinking about this question. Can you talk to us about say one of the craziest or the most unforgettable birth stories that you got?
Oh wow. Probably so many.
I'm like, she said she got 2,000.
2,000, yeah, that's a lot.
I know, right?
Oh man.
You asking her to dig deep.
Oh wow. You know, it always is. It's always still unforgettable too. Like if you think, okay, you know, I just admitted this person, and it's the first time mother, and all right, she's 2 centimeters, and next thing you know, like 30 minutes later, they calling you, and the baby is crowning. Like that is still always like, whoa, you know, people go super fast, like that, or I know that there was a situation on the new online, and I often be very careful how I get involved in like a lot of Instagram things that people talk about. But I know that there was a situation where, and it's different than a woman was watched at the hospital for hours, and she's multiple births, and the moment that they sent her home, she had that baby in the car. And people were going wild on Instagram, like saying that the hospital was, you know, negligent and things like that. But those of us who work birth, and I was just very careful because I put myself in a corner one time trying to respond. And you can't think that people see things from your perspective because they don't know what you know. And oh God, it turned into a disaster. But it's been times that, you know, I watched the patient, I walked the patient for hours, and she did not change. And the moment you're like, okay, well, I think it's okay for you to go home, you got somebody willing back in 30 minutes screaming, and she is ready to deliver. So those types of things can happen, not because I'm racist or I'm negligent, just because you did all your assessment and everything checked out fine, that this mom should be able to go home and just to come back, you know, later when she's progressing or when things get a little closer. You just, birth is very, very unpredictable. And I would never, ever say that I know how it's going to go. So, you know, I've had one time of that to happen to me before, but, you know, people might say, okay, I would like to get up and go to the restroom. Okay, you can. And next thing you know, we're in the bathroom and we're delivering, you know, at the toilet, you know, but but I'm there and I'm ready to do it whichever way we have to do it. I let a mom, I want moms to be able to have the freedom to deliver in whichever way they want to. You want to stand, you want to squat, you want to, however, you do not have to birth only on your back. Let's do whatever you want to do. And as long as it's safe and we'll be okay and I'm safe and I'm not gonna hurt myself and we're not gonna hurt you, then you do whatever you want. So there's so many stories. There's so many stories. I just like I said, everything just needs, I try my best to be as safe as possible as I can. So
let me ask you a question though. You just brought up something. You talking about the different positions that they can be in. Is there one position that's optimal over the others?
I've seen babies come earthside in all positions. Some people don't necessarily like to push on their back. They say that they have a problem with people pushing on their back because it's just the way
the gravity, the spinal.
Yeah, the spine is there and you're pushing up against the spine, and the way that the baby needs to come through the pelvis is just not optimal. But like I said, I've seen babies come very beautifully when somebody's pushing on their back, when they're pushing on their side. I feel like whatever is comfortable, and you have to know, like, there's different ways that you can push. Like you can push closed knee. I love pushing with my patients with closed knee pushing because it opens the pelvis up and it allows for the baby to rotate and just come very easily and with ease. So you just have to also have someone who's knowledgeable about those different ways that you can, which way is the baby positioned, so you can push in a way that is going to be conducive to the baby coming through the pelvis. So I would say I've seen women deliver in so many different ways, and I don't necessarily have a problem with anybody birthing on their back if that's the way that they would like to do it, especially if they have an epidural and their legs are too numb. We might not be able to do hands and knee pushing or squatting. We might not be able to do that because now your legs are dead weight, and we definitely don't want you falling. And so if there's any other way we can do it, that's fine, but we got to be safe. So see, I'm the hospital midwife. Now at home, they don't have to worry about that. They can deliver in whatever position they want to because she does not have an epidural and she's got all the strength in her legs.
Have you ever seen a man pass out after the woman is giving birth?
Oh yeah, I sure have. And I that's another thing for a midwife. You got to watch your whole environment. It's not just the mom. Everything is yours to watch. I've seen men and they over there sweating or they look weird. Please get him a chair because people can really. There has been deaths of men passing out or people passing out in delivery, just falling straight back and really injuring themselves. Here's a story. Now that you say that, I had a mom. We were in the middle of pushing, and she probably was going to push about 2 more times. Where her grandmother walks right into the room. And I guess whatever she saw when she came in was a little bit too much for her, that she went straight back. Bam. She hit the floor, and this was an elderly woman. So here we are moving this bed all the way over so the whole ER team could come and get this woman off the floor while we are still, nothing was, she couldn't stop pushing. And so we had an emergency in the middle of us having a birth. And she wanted to stay there, and we were like, "No, you definitely gotta go get evaluated
check you out
and stay here." And so those are those times, birth is a beautiful thing, but it can go left in a very quick amount of seconds. And so birth is a beautiful. Now people are like, "Oh, you're a midwife. Oh, that's so fun." And I don't necessarily like that comment, and I understand it's out of what people think because they think birth like, oh, that's a happy time.
Yeah.
Most of the time it is, but there are things that can occur in a birth and after that is life or death situations. And as a midwife, you got to know how to navigate, and you got to know how to jump in and take control in an emergency situation. So not only know how to birth babies, but you got to know if something goes wrong, if somebody starts to hemorrhage, what are you going to do? If you have a shoulder dystocia, these shoulders are stuck, what are you going to do? You got to think very quickly on your feet if there's an emergency.
Got to know what to do. You mentioned earlier about how much of how golden it is, because you got to know what's going to take place beforehand. If you don't, and it's all a shock to you, you never know how you react. So,
and afterwards, a lot of people they have postpartum depression, they have post-traumatic stress disorder because of birth trauma. All of those things some of those things can be alleviated if we just have someone to talk through what are the possibilities. Not that they will happen, or not that we want them to, but if this were to occur, this is going to happen. If this happens, this is going to happen. And that can only be told to you by somebody who actually is in it and doing it. There's many birth educators out there, but they don't do birth. And I think
Right.
that it's nothing wrong with that, but it only can go so far.
Yeah, that's
Um,
interesting.
I have, there's many people who might teach birth readiness, or they try to prepare people, but are you doing birth? Do you do you have your hands knee deep into what's going on? If you don't, you can only say what you think might happen. But I think
Yeah.
it really is worthwhile for people to talk to people who know what can happen, and then how should they do, and what, so that at the end of things, it might not be as traumatic because somebody told you, somebody talked to you about it. And so
Hmm.
that's also what I do too, as well, outside of hospital birthing. I think that's another pivotal place where I am at right now, just preparing people in their pregnancy and in their birth and after on what are the possibilities so that they can be so empowered in their birth, even if it is not what they necessarily had wanted.
Yeah.
I just don't
Okay.
see how I could trust somebody fully on their advice if
Yeah,
they have no experience with actual birthing and they want to tell me the whole what to be prepared for. Like, you can only give me the I guess at the end because you don't even know.
Right.
absolutely. Yeah.
And if you don't know, if you're a teenage mom, or you're a 18, 19-year-old mom, maybe 16, they're having babies super early nowadays, right? Like, if you don't have the information and this person is presented to you with this information, you think you're probably getting something that's worthwhile. And the
Yeah.
whole time they can't even really help you. So you're kind of naive in that space. So I could see how the midwife could be very important in this space, because they're kind of hands on with the treatment and so forth.
Yeah.
I like to say there's probably so much more awareness now because I definitely was 17 and pregnant.
Hmm.
But a lot of my education came from me going to go seek it myself, or being very intrigued by it, and
Right.
like going to go read books or going to figure out
Hmm.
what to expect. But it's kind of like financial literacy that no one's out
Right.
here just saying, "Hey, like,
Yep.
let me tell you this, show you this, teach you this." Like, you got to go figure it out and properly vet the individuals is giving out the information clearly, because they ain't even birthing them.
Yeah.
So
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I think it's kind of, it's kind of unfortunate that in a world where all we are, is reproduction and, having babies, and that's a major part of life itself, the circle of life. And it's not just out there for everyone.
It's true.
Right.
It's true. And there's many parts of the birth team. And I think people should get all the parts that you should have if you want a midwife, or even if you have a doctor, but still know you can have a doula. You can have someone a doula is not a lot of people get a doula and a midwife mixed up. They think that
I
we're
was
the
just gonna
same.
ask, like,
Yeah, I was just about to
They think
ask
that
that.
we're
Yeah.
the same. We're not the same. But both aspects are needed in the birth. They're both very instrumental. Like, so the midwife, like I told you, treating, diagnosing, we actually do the birth. We actually are, if there's lacerations, we can repair those. Midwives can also be a second assist in C-sections if they're needed. Um, and we're actually the provider that's providing the care for that particular patient. Now, doula, very, very instrumental, but they are that emotional support. They can they can also help with some education as to how, how we can cope with some pain, or what's good for this and that, help them with pushing and give that support. But they should not be crossing over into that provider role where they're giving information that you have to be, that's got to be your scope of practice. And so people
Hmm.
got to be careful with that too as well, because people may have attended several births, but that doesn't give you the qualification to move into the role of a provider. And so people got to be careful with that,
Hmm.
because
Man,
they
that's good.
do it. They do it. They have to stay. We all have to stay in our lanes, because it starts getting convoluted, and the patient themselves don't know who they need to listen to, and you might be listening to somebody
yeah.
who's not qualified to talk to you about those types of things.
Right. Right.
Hmm.
All right. Well, I got a personal question for my son's girlfriend. Do you have any advice for first time moms?
Yes, I do. Just like we were just talking about, get the information. I think that is, if you can lace yourself up with good knowledge, preparing for, what happens in each trimester of the pregnancy. What are the normals and the abnormals? When do I need to go to the hospital? What is going to happen? What do I need? Like she said, how do I vet out my provider? Because you can fire your doctor if they're not aligning with your with where you are and what you desire. You don't have to stay with that provider. There's many other providers in your network. I'm sure if you have insurance or however it is, even a midwife, I would say vet us too, because vet everybody who has something to do with your care. I mean, that's the lactation consultant, the doula, the midwife, the doctor, whoever it is, the hospital. If the hospital does not align with your beliefs, don't deliver in that hospital. If that hospital has a high C-section rate and they don't believe in thus and so, and that's what you want, and if that's nothing wrong with you delivering in that, say you want dim lights and I don't know, you want dim lights, you want to be able to walk around while you're in labor. If that hospital is like, no, then that might not be the hospital for you to deliver in. Vet everything out. Get all the knowledge that you can during your pregnancy and birth. Be able to talk to somebody about and plan out, how would you like to see your birth? But if it doesn't happen like that, how can we do this different? Being able to know what's going to happen as much as you can in that labor, afterwards, how to take care of your baby. Just the things that you can learn ahead of time. That I think that would literally save the United States from a lot of the problems that we have. We can get people prepared in the right way, not fear mongering them, not to cause fear, but to give them empowered information so then they can make informed decisions. They can advocate for themselves. If somebody's trying to tell you, you need this and you need that, you can say, well, can you stop and explain to me in layman's terms, why is it that you think that I need that? Don't talk over my head, like give it to me straight so I understand, so that me and my partner or me and my husband or myself, I can make a decision as to do I want that or not. And then if it's not anything detrimental to me, do I have to do that? Maybe I can do something different. People have to be able to have a voice. And so I would say just get information. Find a good, credible place and source, not TikTok. Please.
I was just about to say that.
Get off of TikTok University.
I want her to stay off of TikTok. That is something else, you guys. Like, so many of my patients are like, oh yeah, I found on TikTok. I'm like, stop. It's getting bad, really. And so people are just taking information from the most, like trendy,
uncredible people. Yes.
Not a credible source. So find someone credible that's going to help you.
Shout out to the Fiyah session. We always bring in credible people onto the show. We don't just throw nothing at you. You know what I'm talking about, man?
That's right.
We give y'all the RNs. We give y'all the licensed therapists. We give y'all the licensed contract. The whole, you name it. Man, we always bring in the heat. What Ken, what'd you say? We put the medicine in the candy.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. So I guess my next question would be, as we get ready to wrap up, how has being a midwife changed you personally?
I think being a midwife has kept me very humble. I never walk into any situation and think I know it all, because the moment that I think that, something else shows me something. And I feel like if we have a pilot that takes us into the air and think that nothing could go wrong in this plane because you did it so many times, that's a dangerous pilot to be with. Any provider that thinks that we've seen it all, known it all, and then nothing could come out of our reach, that's a dangerous person to be with. And so it has kept me humble. It has kept me a servant to women. I love to serve. I mean, I'm serving. That's how I look at it. And it makes me feel honored to be able to do what I do. And I feel chosen to have done so. And so I think if ever going to keep me in this space, a place of gratitude, I think that's it's going to always keep me there. So changed me, probably made me a better person. Definitely more aware definitely more open to keeping women's choices first, and people, and so that they may be able to do birth and beyond. That might be menopause, because if we don't just stop there after we finish having kids, we have more life, and just be able to give them the most enjoyable times of their life and try to make things as optimal as possible.
I know we didn't really get into this, but this is one of the questions I want to ask. Can you give the ladies a few wellness tips
Hmm.
as they're going through their pregnancy and out of pregnancy? Maybe your top 3, maybe top 5 wellness tips that you can give the ladies out there.
Hmm. Wellness tips, I would say, don't try to eat up everything. Obesity is a a lot of us, we think, okay, it's cool to gain 60 pounds in a pregnancy, but is it? Because that puts you at risk for things like preeclampsia, diabetes, and these are
Mm,
all things that are coming for us and will
mm,
cause problems in your pregnancy. So even something small as continue to exercise and eating a balanced meal and stay away from everything that's trendy, these matchas and frappuccino, everything that's out there that they are pushing, that's probably something that the pregnant women don't need to do too much of. So doing everything in moderation, really, really stay in tune to your body, making sure that what should be going on is happening normally. And I also would say, yeah, I think those will be the ones. Those will be the ones, just about the health and watching the trends and staying just trying to stay as healthy as possible.
yeah, I like that. I dig that. I mean, even though you came for the matcha, I ain't pregnant though. So, but the matcha, that's my stuff right
Sometimes you might look like it.
Wow. Oh, wow.
You know what? It's just
Watch
since
that.
it's Black Maternal Women's Month, I ain't even gonna mess with you this week. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna even mess with you. I'm gonna let you have it all
Hey,
today.
I've
You know
been
what I'm
missing,
saying?
man. You do a few.
I'm just saying, you know
Oh,
what I'm saying? That's all right. It's all right.
yeah.
I'm gonna let you have your way today. You know
So
what I'm saying?
funny.
It's gonna be all right. We got Miss Charlette on. We're gonna be nice on today's show.
All right, Miss Charlotte. I, we talked a little bit before the show, and you sent us a message today, and you
Yeah.
said you had a special announcement. Can you talk to the audience a little bit about that special
Ooh.
announcement?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I am like super excited, you guys. Like everything that we've been talking about is at the core of my heart's desire to see women birthing um safely, and us to just change the trajectory of the way that things have been happening in this United States. And it's got to happen one person at a time. And I believe that um what I've created goes beyond the walls of any clinics, and it allows for me to reach more women in this space. So a couple of years ago, I had started something called Let Us Birth. And it basically means to let us birth, let us do birth the way we're supposed to, but in a safer way. And so um, being a hospital midwife, that was great, but I knew that there was something more, because I would always see families coming in and they're not prepared. The families
Mm,
aren't prepared. The patients aren't prepared. They don't know much. And I'm talking about all age groups, all demographics, all educational levels. People aren't prepared for birth, and so again, thus we get these negative outcomes. And so data shows that if we are educated and prepared in birth, that we have more optimal outcomes. So I'm like, wait a minute, like why aren't people doing more to prepare, but coming from someone who is doing birth? Like we were just talking, the birth educator might be able to tell you about how to stretch and push and whatever, but she's not doing birth. Coming
right.
from somebody who's credible, who is actually doing birth and who sees these things firsthand, I thought that was important. So I created Let Us Birth, and it was just a virtual space where I would meet with moms and their counterparts or their husbands or whomever, and we would just kind of walk through the pregnancies, and it was doing so well for people. So um, I really, really expanded that now to make that to be Let Us Birth Global, because I don't have to be your midwife. You can be going to a doctor. You can be in another state. You can be in another country. But I have created a platform that's educationally based. It is midwife led. It is guidance. It is support. It is education about your pregnancy and your birth. And because I don't have to be your midwife, but it's still midwife led, coming from someone who does know, who is certified, who is doing birth, I'm able to touch more women. I can go into their homes because they can pull it up on their phone. They can pull it up on their computer. They don't actually have to be in an office with me. They don't have to be my patient. It could be it's going to be a layer of care and education just to give them more of a substantial backing and to give them more empowerment through education. If we can do that, I believe that we can actually just close some of these gaps, because people will be more knowledgeable about what they should know is normal and what they should know is not normal. And they're going to be more informed. And so Let Us Birth Global, I am going to be actually launching that platform tonight after we get off of this space.
Okay.
And I'm too excited. There is a book of mine that I wrote on there that I was able actually to put this right into this platform so people can purchase the book. And actually, there's a code that's going to be on. It's on there. Launch 10 is the code. So if anybody's watching, if you put Launch 10, if you purchase that book, you're going to get 10% off. But this platform allows for people to either they can do it self-guided, where they'll just be able to partake in all of the modules. There's the book there. There's lots of birth planning tools. They can print them out. They have vetting checklists that they can be able to vet their provider, vet the system in which they're going to birth in. It doesn't matter where you're going to birth, home birth, birth center or hospital, you need these tools. And so it's for everybody. And it involves some information for the partner as well. So even the baby daddy can get involved, or whomever can get involved in this. So they can do it self-guided, or there's 2 platforms where they're able to virtually connect with me. We can do a one-on-one virtual. You can be in another state. I can help you just to walk through your pregnancy and your birth so that you don't have to feel rushed in these appointments. You still feel very empowered because somebody else who's doing birth is giving you the information. So my goal for this is that we close these gaps, y'all. And there's some of these places where they don't have access to care. They don't have access to a midwife. They don't have access to a Black midwife, that they can still have somebody in their corner, such as myself, that will be able to help them. Even though I'm not their main provider, I can still give them some help along the way. And hopefully we can change some of these mortality rates.
For sure. And I'm like, as I stated earlier before we go in, like, we will be sharing your information, your content on our social media platforms to let people know. So definitely. Yeah. This blessed me.
I forgot to say
congratulations.
Thank you. I'm so excited. I forgot to say what it's called. It's learn.letusbirth.com. So
learnbirth.
No.
Say that again.
learn.letusbirth.com. And then the
learn.letusbirth.com. Got it.
Learn being a very, very important word for you right now. Okay.
Yeah. You know, every now and then, a little slow, you know what I'm saying?
Gotta learn you something.
You gotta learn. Yeah. Hey, just as an FYI, you know what I'm saying? I'm happy about this episode. I'm telling you, I have been looking for the right person for this episode for a long time. And this blessed me because this was some information. Of course, I'm a reader. So when I'm looking for things and I'm trying to conjure up an idea for an episode, I always shoot it to the team. And I was like, I've been wanting this episode for the longest. And you blessed us tonight with some great information that I know this episode will be dope for a lot of ladies to hear. So
I got a couple of hot mama friends that's pregnant, so I'm definitely share with them.
Shoot it to them. Send it to them.
My first time mamas, all kinds of stuff. So,
right?
Mm-hmm. I'll be so just honored to help. Thank you guys so much for having me. I appreciate it.
No problem. And as we close out, is there anything that you can leave with the audience? One final thought that you can leave with them that put something on their mind as we wrap up.
Well, in this Black Maternal Health Week, I think, like you said, it's very pivotal. So many women have lost their lives just trying to have a baby and just trying to start a family. No matter her educational background, no matter her status, financially, whatever it is. And it just doesn't make any sense. None. And so I believe midwives are here as angels in birth. And if you can connect with one, I think that's a blessing. I think people should try, search it out, see if you can, if you're able to access a midwife, and let's do birth. Let's do birth like we're supposed to. Let's prepare, educate. And so I charge the midwives out there too. We got to step up our game even stronger, because as they trying to stop us, we have a calling, we have something we have to do. So I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you
Yes.
so much for that. And Trish Michelle, do you have anything to let the audience know before we get up out of here?
Knowledge is power. I'll always say that. Like I said, I was young and I didn't really know nothing, but I swore I read everything. I can also say, like, it's okay to ask questions to those around you that have had babies, but just remember your story is not going to be like theirs. So seek the education, seek the professional help behind it all. And like she said, whatever type of armor you could put behind you, it takes a village. It's going to take one too when you're getting ready to have one. So you make sure that you just do everything you can to have a safe pregnancy, safe baby, healthy you. And, keep having these little babies out here so I don't have to have them, because I like to play with those babies.
Like to be able to send them back home.
Yeah.
Like this.
Have healthy babies so I can play with them.
Yeah. See y'all. Yeah. Bye.
Thanks. All right, Trish Michelle, let the people know where they can find you at too on
Oh,
social
yeah.
media.
I forgot about that, huh? I am on there. Trisha Michelle. You guys can find me Trisha Michelle _TM, just basically everywhere. So TikTok, Instagram, of course, YouTube. And now that I am finally done being so busy, I'm actually gonna be recording and uploading something by the end of this week here. So make sure y'all are there. If y'all been following me, y'all seen how busy I've been. I'm getting ready to travel to New Orleans too next week. So, gotta go to my home place, get some of that good food. But outside of that, that's where y'all can find me. And then the fire session. If you don't follow the fire session and you're looking for me, what are you doing? Because if you ain't over here, don't look nowhere else.
Thanks. All right, appreciate that. Appreciate that. Benji Banks, the man, the brand. Talk to the people before we get up out of here, my guy.
Man, this was dope. And again, thank you, Miss Charlette, for coming on, accepting our invitation to come on Fire Session. I would say, man, that wellness aspect, I know we talked about it just a little bit, but that wellness aspect is something I think we got to tap into a little bit more, you know what I mean? So that we can, get these healthy babies out here, man. I'm a GPAW now, 2-time GPAW. So to see my little babies kind of grow up, you know what I mean? It's just a whole different feeling. It's like you step back into that space of, having your own kids, and you get to see them, you get to hang around with them, and ain't nothing better than seeing a healthy baby, but ain't nothing also better than the healthy mom. You get what I'm saying? So, ladies, keep yourself healthy out there. Stay off the matcha. I know Starbucks trying to pull you in there to get you every day, but you got to say no to Starbucks. You know what I'm talking about? So that's what we on. And again, appreciate Miss Withers for coming on and hanging out with us. Y'all know where to find me. Y'all can find me everywhere, man. You can find, if you need a nice church to go to, I got your back like a car seat. If you need a restaurant, if you need to go get your wig done, I got all of that. I mean, we all over the web like a tarantula. So just holler at your boy, Benji Banks. You can't miss me. I'm the only person with the wine glass in his hand. All of that. Reinvented TV. You can find me everywhere. Just come looking for me. I ain't hard to find. And I got you.
All right. So we're gonna close out with this, y'all. Life doesn't just happen. It's delivered with purpose, strength, and sacrifice. Today we got a front row seat to the power that's behind the process. Again, we appreciate our special guests. We appreciate all the knowledge we've gained today. And you already know you've been rocking with Trisha Michelle, Benji Banks, and Big Ken. We are the Fire Session. Thanks again to our special guests and this amazing information and informative conversation we have had on today. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe on all social media platforms, and follow us also on Amazon Music, on all platforms where there are podcasts, so you don't miss the next session. And remember, If it didn't challenge you, it can't change you. Until next time, keep your energy high and your circle solid. Stay lit. It's the Fiyah Session. Peace.
For sure.